that if I want to go back in train again, I have to get in a personal agreement with myself that if I need to do some change. You can see I use Jiu-Jitsu as my tool, that I use to pass that lessons that I had in life and to prove that if you really want and make all you can, on your hand, on your control, you can achieve. Like through the Jiu-Jitsu from Carlos Gracie Sr., Carlos Gracie Jr. is my master who has a vision to change the world through Jiu-Jitsu.
Welcome to the Drop In with Pindi Podcast from Warriors TMA Academy, a podcast for everyone from business inspirational leaders, combat sports enthusiasts, martial artists, and fitness fans. Together, we can build our self-discipline, confidence, and positive mindsets through great leaders. Now, here's your host, coach and former pro fighter, Pindi Madahar.
Welcome, ladies and gents, to another episode of a Drop In with Pindi podcast. We are here today with the one and only, one of our regular guests, Mr. Braulio Estima, and someone who's had a huge impact in his life, and someone who I've had the privilege of meeting and getting to know in these last few days, Mr. Dyyan Morandi. I'm honored to have the two of them here today to speak about what we were discussing in our last podcast with Braulio, which we did a few years ago, but what we were discussing about the connectivity of how the impact of the energy of the trees are and how we're making that living proof that you're doing that in today's day and age and making such an impact by sharing, by connecting, by giving back to our brothers and sisters out there and making a huge impact on people's lives. So I'm honored to have them both here today to share their stories. But before we get stuck into it, since our last podcast, we've not had a chance to speak with Braulio live on camera. But as you're all probably aware, in last year, towards the back end of last year, we had the ADCC Hall of Fame Awards, which was in Vegas, and the guys flew out. Manny and Braulio and the whole team flew out to obviously see him get the award that he has truly deserved because of what he's done for the amazing sport and art of Jiu-Jitsu. But Braulio, first of all, a huge congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Explain to us about the feeling of how it is, because obviously you know what was coming, you know it was coming, but just that feeling you get when you're behind that stage. You hear your name's about to be announced out. You're about to walk out. Just explain to us of that feeling and that goosebumps. I'm getting goosebumps talking about it now, so I can only imagine what you're going through.
Man, Pindi, first of all, I'd like to say thank you very much for the invitation to be here. It's my third podcast.
Yeah,
one of my favorites. We're here. We talk a lot about with free
for sure,
thoughts and. Try to pass a little good message to whoever is watching. But yes, man, like it's crazy because that's probably that day in Vegas on the awards, on the biggest show on the planet in grappling, ADCC 2022, we became like a mark on the history of Jiu-Jitsu for many reasons. And in my life, man, I always try to focus on what's next. I don't really, whatever's gone, I take as a lesson and I focus on what I need to do, the next step that's not bigger than my legs. And in order to become the best version possible of my potential, So the reason I'm saying that is because when I was approaching, when I got nominated, it started kind of passing a film in my head, because then you start processing, right? You start thinking about what happened, how it happened, and how the hell that kid came from nowhere in Brazil, in Recife, where there was no black belts around, and now is the time that you're going to be standing with all your idols and references of the sport worldwide. And that's when these moments happens that I stop to think and I go, flipping heck, that was cool. And then because since the beginning, one of my first lessons was when I was a white belt. I think I mentioned here before that it was I took my when I got disappointed for the first time that I thought I was going to get my blue belt, because every time that I went to train, all I want is to beat someone else to be able to get recognized, so I improve. And I didn't get my blue belt when I thought I was really going to get. And then I had that first ever stop of my career that I gave up. I don't want to do this anymore. How come I'm not a blue belt? I should do blue belt. But then I got into terms with myself from that point, if I want to go back in train again, I have to get a personal agreement with myself that if I need to do some change. Yeah. If first of all, if I go back to the academy with the intentions to beat someone else, to be able to get awarded something, didn't get what I wanted, because I was actually indeed beating most people, all the white belts, and I didn't get me the blue belt. I started realizing that, you know what, if I really want to go back, I need to focus more on me. Yes. Instead, because by beating someone else out, or the white belts, I didn't give him the blue belt. So if I really want Amici to go back and train, I have to change a little bit of my mindset about it. And it was the first time that I came back to train without weight on my shoulders, because I didn't have that pressure to impress my coaches to get the belt. So therefore, I was no longer focused on beating others. I was focused on improving myself. Therefore, I didn't have to play always on my A game. So that means I didn't have that pressure that I cannot lose. And then when that shift, when I was 16 years old, happened, and I agree with it, from now on, I'm going to go there, try to do my best, and to the point that I will improve every area as possible, that at some point, they'll be inevitable that I'm going to get my blue belt. And when I had that mindset, I started developing other areas because I wasn't afraid to lose. And then I realized why I didn't get my blue belt by beating others, because by beating others doesn't mean that you're doing the right thing. If you're beating others, doing something that works up until your purple belt, and then later you're going to hit the wall, yes, you're not doing the right thing. And as a coach, as a professor, when I look at students, I don't judge them by if they lose or if they win, but how they lose and how they win. If you are winning, doing something that's not going to last, you are on the wrong direction. You need to tune in on the right path. And if you are losing, but doing the right things that eventually you're going to break through, yes, I rate that more. So that's what I was doing before. I was beating others, but basically I wasn't doing the right things. And I was doing things that wasn't really going to work in the long term. And I learned that. And then since then, all I was focused on having become my full potential in any level that I was, in a white belt, and then after 3 months I got my blue belt then, and I became from the purple belt, blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, and suddenly time passes and I'm already black belt, fighting the world championships and blah, blah, blah. So that's my mentality, helped me to focus on what I can control. It's all about me. It's about my self-development. It's about my self-evolution, independent on others, without comparing myself to other people. And then I started using other people as a reference. And on that journey, I had so many of the nominees of the Hall of Fame as references, but not as a comparison, because they were so far away. Like more than half of them, they're already at the top of the game when I was only a blue belt. You know, Ricardo Arona was the first person the first time I met him was at the Hall of Fame. And then that guy was a machine. I look up to him in many ways. And wow. Oh my God, I cannot believe that I'm actually on the same stage receiving the same award. That is kind of surreal.
Yeah.
When those are the times that I start to think, holy moly, man, it's like,
is this real?
Is this real? Is this happening? And I go, wow. And then I had planned all my speech. You know, I was like, oh man, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, okay, blah, blah, blah. And then the nominees started getting called. And then there was like over 12,000 people in the arena, the big stage. And then Kenny Florence started calling, and then one by one, suddenly I knew that I was going to be the next. And then I went to the backstage, and I wanted to look the video of 1 minute of the highlight of my career being put in front of all those people, including my brother that flew all the way there, my fiance, my kids were there watching. A lot of good friends of mine flew just to presence this moment. Ryan, JF from the Dallamore, and all like a Dyyan from the Grapplers Escape, guys from all over the place, Alex from Gracie Barra Lisbon. It's crazy. And then when I start seeing it, the video, just like 1 minute before I stepped in, I broke into tears. Not completely dripping, but I was like choked. And I was, wow, I remember that what I was going through that time, and actually I've been recognized by all these things, and I start getting so excited and nervous at the same time. And usually I don't get nervous in front of people, you know. As soon as I stepped in, because that meant so much to me, it came a big film of that thing that I came from nothing, and I felt like, wow, like it's incredible thing that that kid, because I look back, I say, it's that kid.
Yes.
Because I'm today here.
Yes,
you know
yes,
what I mean?
yes.
Where that spot
That-
is
that-
gone.
yeah.
But that kid, I'm so proud of that kid.
Yeah.
That made me who I am today.
Yes.
And
yes.
and I stepped in, and
Yes.
Kenny Florian asked the questions, and then I was like, wow. And I started like talking something, and then I forgot to say thank you for all my students, for all the team that was supporting me. I was like completely choked out, And but I passed the message. People didn't notice, but afterwards, I sat by Roger, which was my best friend, partner, my best friend in Jiu-Jitsu. And I sat there, dude, I forgot to say thank you for my brother to come here. I forgot to say thank you for the people that helped me. I forgot to say thank you for people. It's because I was answering the questions, and I was trying to, and then I kind of got, literally for the first time, I got stage fright, because there was a lot of things came as a burst into my head, and I became overwhelmed. And it was an incredible experience. The award is beautiful. It's a stamp that is gonna be there forever.
Absolutely.
And I'm
absolutely.
so proud of that kid by taking that decision and that commitment to become as good as it could be, independent of whatever anyone else gonna say or think. And that mentality of do one step at a time on what you can control, I took with me for the rest of my career. Appreciated everything, giving back to others, and pass it on to everyone else that wanted to carry on the journey. And here we go. It's incredible.
I'll be honest with you. I couldn't make it in Vegas, and I didn't understand the scale of the show. I didn't understand. I know what ADCC is. I'm a fan of the sport. I'm involved in the sport. I know this. I know what the show the show is about. But I'll tell you when it hit me. I was on Instagram. I was just watching you guys there, and you guys were obviously doing like this is the day before you guys were doing like I think you're doing like an open seminar and stuff like that. Yes. And I was like, that's cool. But then I've got all these celebrities on my Instagram, like like who you follow, and I was watching them. People like Mario Lopez, who actually does jiu-jitsu himself, but he's an awesome, he loves the sport, and he was there. He had all these people there, and I was watching this live. He did a live video on Instagram. I was like, where's he? Thinking he's like at an NBA game or something. Does that I didn't understand where he was. And then I was like, holy shit, he's does that mean? And then that's when it hit me. I was like, yo,
Joe Rogan,
everyone was there.
Lexi Friedman, everyone was there.
It's about 10, 15 years ago. ADCC there was no stage like the when you get your medals, it was on mats, wasn't it? And now you've got a show.
There was no stage at all.
Yeah, and now you got a show which has got what? 10,000 people as spectators.
12,500.
12,500 spectators. The scale of what jiu-jitsu is becoming is scary. Is so surreal to see, and that it goes down to what you were just saying there, because it's just like, for example, it's not always about the money, but even the money now that's involved with it for all these guys that are competing.
Bigger dimension.
Yeah.
And it's only the first breakthrough,
Yeah.
And it's because of that ADCC that now the is on the UFC Fight Pass, and that vision that the Sheikh Mohammed, Sheikh Tarnoum bin Zayed had, and then to bring something like that with the sport, because he understood the beauty of what jiu-jitsu can bring. you know, and and then they start like developing jiu-jitsu around EOA. And the ADCC is our Olympics, you know. And then Mo Jassim made a very big commitment, took the responsibility on his shoulders, and brought the show to a new level.
Scale,
and after that is ADCC before and after Vegas. And guess what? We're going to go back to Vegas again next year, 2023, and then it's going to be insane.
Even bigger, man. That's gonna be incredible. I'm definitely gonna make the trip out there this time around because I missed out. I missed out. But yeah, man, for sure. But so everyone's probably wondering why are you both here and why I want to bring you both here. And I appreciate you giving us your experience of you receiving a truly deserved award. But the three of us met on Friday. I briefly saw you last week, Dyyan, last week in the academy. But from Friday, you know, when someone has an impact, and immediately I felt your energy and the impact that you've had on this gentleman here, the stuff that we're going to be working on in the future. It's just like, wow. I've never known someone so humble with what he's achieved in his career, with certain names out there, big names in the world of football, in the world of NBA, in the world of jiu-jitsu, but be so humble about it. Because you see some people that have achieved what you've achieved, and it's like they're showing it everywhere, but you're so humble about it. And I just want to know. I want you guys to share the story, how you shared the story to me on Friday. I want you guys to share the story of the connection, because me and Braulio, we were there just talking about, you know, developing these podcasts, and you're like, hey, I want to introduce you to someone. And then he introduced me to you, Dan. And just, obviously, those of you that don't know, this guy here right now is an amazing guy with what he's done with amazing athletes out there, making them who they are, in my opinion, on social media, working on strategical plans and putting on some amazing shows out there. So Dyyan, give us a bit of an insight of where this idea came from to help all these amazing athletes out there.
So first of all, thank you. Okay, I appreciate to be here.
No worries.
Actually, this is the very first time that I'm participating on a podcast.
Really?
Really, because I always manage the athletes or people that I work with, to participate, because they are the people who needs media to show their stories, because people like him is they're responsible for my career, because they are the true inspiration, not me, you know. So basically what you're saying, it's based on that, you know, because the spotlight, there is always to be on the athletes, you know, and not behind them, because they are the guys that they are wake up in early, you know, they need to train if it's cold, if it's hot, whatever, if they have like disease, or if they are someone in their house that are ill or sick, you know. They don't need to look for those things. They have to look only for their objectives, you know, because if they don't do that, they will never achieve their objectives. So basically my work is to be part of their success, you know.
Check this out. It's funny, now, because everything that he said, that what the athlete has to do, when I look at him, is everything that he does.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes. He wakes up every day in the morning, focus on objective. If it's raining, it's fire, whatever, he's there. Focus on it. Everything that you described is exactly how I see how you do in your work.
Because I learn all the time, you know. So if the guys are achieving their objectives, I need to achieve mine. So basically I need to do what they are doing. So if I work with world champions, Hall of Fame guys like you, what I have to do to become the Hall of Fame in my professional skills, you know?
Yes.
That's why he's so good.
Feed off it. Exactly.
It's all about the mindset.
It's crazy because your mindset is incredible. Like both of you, but like in the short period of time you've been here in the UK, I think you've been
2 weeks.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
We were just talking about like obviously some of the plans you're doing and some of the actions that speak louder than words, right?
Yes.
And you were just showing me some of the results you were getting in the space of 2 weeks, and that's just you not wanting anything back. You're just sharing your knowledge out there, and you're helping people, athletes, academies, all sorts, and you're getting results. Does that make sense? And it's so good. And we had this conversation less than 48 hours ago. And you were saying about you're at a stage in your life where it's not about you anymore. It's not about you want to share as much as you possibly can, and you want to give as much as you possibly can. And I remember having a similar conversation with you, Braulio, a couple of years ago, and you were saying it's because when you compete, it's all about you. When you're teaching, it's about you as well as just and giving. But you hit a certain stage in your life where you want to. It's not about you. It's about everything you've achieved to go out there. And I think, like, from what you were explaining in your world of what you do, you're at that stage now where you're constantly giving. In the space of a couple of hours, the amount of advice you gave me, I was just like, my brain was fried. Does that make sense? And it's just like, it's incredible. And I just want to say, like, you've worked with some amazing superstars out there. And you've got them to the level they've got to because of the plans that you've put into place. Does that make sense? We're not going to obviously emphasize too much on the individuals, but where did this idea come from in terms of working with sports people out there and everything? Because you've never been, am I right in saying you weren't involved in jiu-jitsu to start with or football or anything, or you just had this idea and just boom, went with it? Where did it all start from for yourself?
So basically I start my professional career, I don't know, very soon. I was 19 when I started to work for Marsh McLennan Companies, an insurance company, a multinational company, on marketing. And but since the beginning, I learned too much about business, about strategic planning, marketing strategy, and in business development, because the feeling that I had at that time is that at the company, they need people to understand the marketing directed for results, And I stayed at 4 years and a half working for Marsh McLennan Companies, but as always, all the multinational companies, they took cut off your free time,
Sure.
You don't live. You basically just work.
Live for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And what you're having in exchange? Nothing. Just you are losing your health, you're losing your friends, you're losing your families, and in exchange of what? Money.
That you cannot use because you don't have free time.
Exactly.
It's true. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's not the life I want for me. That's not the life I want to choose for my future. So basically I start to look for sports because I always love sports. And I always had this proximity for people, on professional stages. And I was trying to, maybe help them with the business development for them. Because in Brazil at that time, sports marketing was terrible, was completely awful.
Really? Oh,
yes.
Wow.
And
It's crazy. I remember people, that's Renato Gaúcho used to wear a bandana. That was his sponsor that he could expose the sponsors on the games, right?
Yeah.
I remember he used to have like a porcão.
That's right. Yeah, that's
which is like a rodizio, it's like a churrascaria, it's like a steakhouse. And he's the only guy wearing that. So that's all of the marketing that he had.
Exactly.
That was limited to that.
Wow.
This is back in the day.
Just for you to have an idea,
Yeah.
the football players in Brazil at that time, the brand that they do the promotion at a highest level was Umbongo, which is a surf brand in Brazil. Nike, Adidas, Puma, they never use that on media. They use only on Bongo because the owner were friends of those guys, and he distribute products for free, and all of them was, okay, that's great.
Wow.
And this is 2002,
Wow.
Yeah.
So this is the era of the football. So me growing up, this is the era of like Roberto Carlos, Cafu, Ronaldo, R9 Ronaldo. And the marketing was rubbish. Not rubbish.
Renato Gaúcho. And this was the year 2002 was the year that I came to UK.
Yeah. Wow.
Impressive, no?
I would from the outside world, we wouldn't have thought that. Does that make sense? From like out like because these guys are like superstars. Does that make sense?
Yes, it's incredible.
Yeah.
And
then I start to understand how I could, work with them. And I remember, I remember that my very first meeting when I decided to start my first sports marketing company was with a jiu-jitsu guy, Margarida.
Oh my God, Margarida, man.
My first meeting.
He's from São Paulo, hey?
Yeah, I had this meeting.
Double world champion, absolute, incredible.
Wow.
Yeah, amazing
Flew
guy.
from blue to black belt, like smashing everyone.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I had this meeting with Margarida. At that time, he was looking for more sponsors. He was already a world champion and a Pan American champion. He has this incredible career. And based on that conversation, I understood a lot of stuff, especially because I saw that he didn't understand anything regarding business development. And I started to have more meetings with more athletes from swimming, from gymnastics, and some football players. And I understood that those guys, they don't understand about business development. For them, there is no connection between media exposure, and sponsorship. For them, sponsorship is just to put the brand on the jersey or use a cap or something like that, and promote them. But it's not like that. And social media was completely non-existent. The only social media at that time was Orkut. In Brazil was huge.
Like a Facebook, the first Facebook.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was unbelievable. Maybe MySpace, but
I remember MySpace.
Yeah.
I remember MySpace.
It was like the same kind of era. Maybe Orkut was the Brazilian MySpace.
version.
It was crazy how Orkut became a big wave in Brazil.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because before of that was the SMS, no,
ICQ.
the chat, MSN. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
So basically, that was the technology of that time. So I spent a couple of years studying, doing new business, helping some athletes, working with Olympic athletes, and doing sports events production. I work as producer for like 4 years because work with athletes do not pay my bills.
Right.
Yeah.
It's great for exposure, but not for
It's a great exposure, but at that time, the brands, they don't look for athletes as an asset, okay?
Right.
On their marketing and their communications planning.
Sure.
So basically, I had to work as a producer because the events, they could be a good way to find, financial resources and keep working. In 2009, I started to study the movement that the NBA start with Twitter. I read in any magazines, I don't remember, that the NBA was starting to promote their playoff matches on Twitter platform. So I went to Twitter, I tried to understand what the hell was that, why the NBA was using that, how that's possible. The NBA don't need to pay anything for those guys because at that time there is no charge for anything, not even ads. So basically, that was a free media company.
Right.
So the NBA took advantage of that, and start to promote the games and start to use their leverage, as a entity and attract the followers or the fans. And I don't know, I think in 6 months they had like 150,000 followers already in Twitter. It's 2009, okay? We are saying that more than 10 years ago.
Wow.
And now, wow, that's amazing. They don't need to use like Sports Illustrated. They don't need to use like ESPN, BBC, or Fox Sports to promote their games or their, all the branding or the athletes. They are doing that for free by themselves. That's unbelievable.
Absolutely.
And I start to read more about that, to research more about that. And I saw that no athlete in the world was using the platform, to attract more visibility. They were doing, but they are doing in a personal way, in the, personal behavior. It's not, like a new wave, someone is using, let me use that too, okay, blah, blah, blah. And then I thought, shit, this could be amazing if an athlete could create a huge, a massive net with followers, because he could promote itself and also promote brands. And then I start to write a project and see how I could develop that. And I tried to offer this project for 3 athletes in Brazil.
Okay.
The 3 athletes, they refused. They said, this is not going to happen here. This wave is just on United States.
They didn't believe in the process.
This social media thing is not going to be a success here, blah, blah, blah. And
there's a lot of that in Brazil, a lot of complex. It works there, but doesn't work here.
Yeah, I was about to say, it sounds very, very similar to our culture. It sounds very much like India. Like, oh, no, it doesn't work with us. That's the sort of impression. That's the impression I'm getting with, like,
it's incredible.
Yeah.
No? But it's incredible also when you believe in something, things happen.
Yeah.
Exactly. And also, not to mention that, like, you are thinking with the mindset of the development that your country is. And you see America, how developed it is in the technology. Maybe when you are in the lower level or in technology, you don't understand what that will lead. But instead of getting this to get inspired, and you try to, it's not for us. I like to say, like, there was a little parable. There was this guy. He worked in marketing, and he went to that, like, old times in India. This is a parable. Yeah, actually, he says it was in India. He went to India because his dad used to sell shoes.
Okay.
As when he goes to that city in India, he goes, this is terrible here because nobody wears shoes. When he go back to his dad, he goes, mate, nobody wears shoes.
That's amazing.
That's great.
That's incredible.
That's what I want.
That's the catch. That's the metaphor.
Yeah.
Equivalent to the mindset.
Exactly.
Crazy.
Exactly. And that's the thing. That's exactly the point.
Yeah.
And it's funny because in the same time that I was trying to implement this project in Brazil, someone from Neymar staff reached out to me to see if I could help them to develop a website for Neymar. Okay. So basically, that was the idea, to create Neymar's website to promote more the image of Neymar.
Right.
So the person who I started talking was Junior Pedroso. Junior today is one of the most recognized agents in Brazil.
Wow.
He was the right hand of Neymar's manager at that time. And we had this first meeting, and I present them the idea. They liked the idea. We moved forward. We had like a big presentation for Neymar's father. So we went to Santos. We had a meeting there, and Neymar's father I liked this idea, especially because Neymar is going to be the first in the world. So I think that could be amazing, because Neymar connects with everyone. The kids at that time, they loved Neymar in Brazil. It was incredible. All the kids was using mohawks because of Neymar.
Because of it,
So Neymar was 19 years old.
Exactly.
Wow.
His career was just in the beginning.
Wow.
This is 2010.
Right. Okay.
So he loved the idea. He said, okay, go ahead. He said 2 things for me. The investment, it's up on you, okay? If you trust so much on this, show me that you are capable to do the results that you are saying. And the other thing was, that's very important. If you burn my kid's image, I'll kill you.
Damn.
Yeah.
No pressure.
Yeah. If you make my son becomes a joke, prepare yourself for battle.
Wow. Tell us your thoughts right there. What was going through your head? Because if someone said that to me, I'll be like,
I said, okay, no way. Let's go. Let's do that.
You believed in it. You had the belief in it.
And the way that he's good on football, I know something about marketing, and I know that I'm capable of. And we did it. And we launched the very first digital platform for an athlete in the world.
Okay.
So we connect the website of Neymar with the APIs of Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, and also a blog platform. Okay. And we create the first media platform for an athlete. Right. And that was unbelievable, because for the first time in the world, one athlete, he has his own voice. He could speak with everybody in the world without me just say anything.
Direct to them.
Exactly. So if a reporter or if a journalist or if anyone with bad intentions speak anything on media, he could write back, you know?
Before you couldn't.
Exactly.
A lot of people got burned because of that, actually, right?
Exactly.
So basically, Neymar said, "Oh, mate, my kid's not gonna get burned." To be honest, he used the social media the other day with the case that happened, and that actually clarified everything. That if that was not,
he fired back all the time.
If there was no platform that he created,
He could not do.
He wouldn't be able to do it, and it would be bad scene, burned.
Wow.
But the interesting thing is that that was 2010, and as 2010, nobody had no idea about social media. So what happened? Neymar started growing and growing and growing because people was like, I can speak directly to Neymar. Neymar can speak direct to me. What the hell is that? And people start to, subscribe on Facebook, on Twitter, just to follow Neymar. And I'm pretty sure that Mark Zuckerberg should give me some shares. And,
for sure, man. Absolutely, man.
I'm
100%.
very responsible for that. Me and Junior, we did a lot of things,
Yeah, man.
But the very cool about this is that we had this great team working, It was me, Junior, Zaza, which is the guy behind the technology, and Alex Bernardo, which was the guy responsible for all the communications, And Alex is, until today, the guy in charge of all Neymar's, communication strategy for digital platforms. He does an amazing job. There's much more people that work with Neymar staff. And but at that time, we look at that and we were impressive how people was connecting with Neymar. And in 2010, I started something that people until today they are not doing, which was sell sponsorship for the digital platforms. Use the digital platforms as business development, and that made something changing my career and also in my life, because after that point I was bringing something new for the world of sports, and not only football, but after that every athlete in the world start to create their own media platforms. And that's the reason business changed in sports worldwide, and the sports marketing became more attractive for everyone, for clubs, for entities, for athletes, for brands, for everybody. Because I could manage information in real time, So think, a brand that was looking to, promote their services or products, they could track information in real time through the social media analytics. If you do an advertise on TV, you don't have that information.
The TV has.
The TV has, but they never pass you.
No, of course not. They control. That's what I'm saying. Only
Exactly.
the TV has. And that's why they manipulate so much, especially in Brazil, because the TVs are for free. And that is only 5 main channels. That is. If you want to open a TV, you cannot just become, it has to be a license from the government.
Oh, wow.
And because it's free for everyone. It's not like here in the UK that
TV
you pay
license,
a little bit. But everyone has a TV, has access to 5 windows, to 5 different kind of ways of message being passed about the world. And Brazil has now, 230 million people.
Yeah.
They don't have, the large majority doesn't have access to Netflix or any other cable TV.
Wow.
So after a very long time, too much study and researches and improvements, I start to look for social media and for the digital behavior worldwide from a different perspective.
Sure.
I helped to create something based on business development. And now I'm trying to create a new wave based on people's influence, but a good influence.
Yeah.
Because people is lost on social media. People is completely lost. And I believe sports, have the chance to change the world. So the the first minutes of what he was saying here to you, it's the best example that someone could hear, could watch on social media, and take that and use that, to improve their lives.
Absolutely. I say this all the time with them, like living proof right there. Doesn't matter where you come from. Doesn't matter like resources or anything like that. Because I remember you telling me like where your hometown is, there wasn't a lot of resources. You hardly had any black belts. There was no such thing as YouTube back then or anything like that where you could,
there's a will, there's a way.
Exactly. And that's living proof right there. Living proof right there.
That's our conversation, because the way that I understand, the analytics and the numbers and the strategies behind social media, I understand what people wants to hear, and how can we communicate? And that's what I'm trying to give, to people, the knowledge about how to communicate good things, because everybody is capable to change the world. Everybody, any person, everybody in this room right now can change the world. Everybody has one special skills at least. But then you take someone like Braulio, Hall of Fame, world champion, that came from nothing, just a kid, who suffered what he suffered in his career, passed for so many things, but he doesn't look for the world, in terms of I need to pass my message, because he don't want to show arrogant, because he's humble, He tries to keep low profile regarding the things that he had achieved, because at the end of the day, he wants to pass his knowledge about jiu-jitsu, about no-gi, about martial arts, and also about life for his students, for people that is around him, and he does that very well, like no one. But when you say that your words are going to hundreds, millions of people, you keep like, oh my God, no. What they are going to think about me, And that's the thing that I'm trying to change, because if you are saying a good thing, if someone thinks something about you, it's his problem. I don't care, because there's people that are suffering on depression. There's kids with 18 years old that they don't know where they have to go. They don't know that they can pass through every problem. They don't know that they are capable to be the best in the world, and they can. And once he showed his example, he was 17. Imagine the power of his message, in a 17 years old kid today, how he can change lives.
Massively. Because I was having this conversation, not with you guys, I was having this conversation just yesterday. I was here at the academy and I was coaching in the evening, and I was just talking to a friend, like basically a father and a son come to our adults classes, and they're cool guys, man. They're hilarious together. It's a really nice relationship the two of them have. But the father's got this amazing he's got an amazing contract. He owns his own plumbing company. So all these new houses that you see are developing. He's got majority of the contracts across Coventry, of obviously putting all the plumbing and the bathrooms and all of this in place. The son's just turned 17. He's going to be 17 in a couple of weeks' time, but he's kind of lost. He doesn't want to go to college. He's not doing anything with his life, and obviously he's found martial arts, which obviously I'm here to try and not sell him the dream, but want to guide him in the right direction. Mm-hmm. But in my head, I'm thinking, your father just left you a legacy and a gold mine.
What else do you need?
Why are you lost? Does that make sense? And I found that teenagers nowadays, 17-year-old boys, 18-year-old boys, they all seem lost. You had wouldn't say it's the look, but you had the drive, the vision, because you had jiu-jitsu. I had martial arts at a young age. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. So we had goals that we wanted to achieve. But I find today's day and age, they don't have that. And that's something I'm struggling to understand, why they don't have that. And do you think it's the power of social media or I don't know. Where do you think that kind of lacks? What do you think it is?
Well, I think that nowadays a lot of people tend to be behind the screen on the keyboard, and they lack of confidence of exposing themselves on the real world, right? Nowadays, when you talk to, when you send a message, you don't see no teenagers calling each other. They don't. The maximum that they do is send a voice message, but it's mainly text. And you always have the excuse to don't have to reply straight away. You have time to think. You can even type it. No. Go back. You have, in this, you don't develop the skills of the communication, the feeling. And also, when you text all the time, there's a lot of emotions that can be mixed and communicated, because sometimes when you talk to people and you deal with people face to face, you can see the expressions, your mannerism, and how your behavior, how you speak, how the emotion, body language.
Yeah.
And when people end up being on the real world, when you don't used to deal with those social skills, you freeze. And then you tend to avoid, and you tend to try to carry on doing what you're doing before, which is, okay, let's play a video game, let's go this, let's put a picture of me that I don't look like that, but I want to make me look as good as possible. And then filter, and then end up you put yourself in the loop that you look back, all your pictures are looking away. Now I have to see someone, and I am ashamed of myself because I no longer am the person who I have been portrayed on the social media. And then I think this is just one of the, one of the many reasons that this happens, that I see by being a father, and also by reason why I always hold back on the social media, because I prefer to experience life.
Yeah,
like
live in the
that,
moment.
and impact people
Yes.
because I feel that that's the way that I can
Really.
attach the real scene, right? And that's why, like, since our second podcast, when I was talking about the tree, you can see I use jiu-jitsu as my tool, that I use to pass that lessons that I had in life, and to prove that if you really want and make all you can, on your hand, on your control, you can achieve. And then in jiu-jitsu and sports in general, you go through so many social situations, hurdles. Like, you're going to be hanging out with people that are completely from a different location that where you came from. Suddenly you start sharing in the same area, sometimes playing with them, sometimes playing against them, sometimes upsetting them because you didn't pass or you didn't do the right thing, and he sometimes upset you, and then you get into terms with yourselves with those emotions. Sometimes you're going to win, sometimes you're going to lose, and you're going to realize that when you couldn't do something in the past, now I can do it because I developed that skill by practicing on a day-to-day basis, even though I couldn't do it before, but now I can. And you start believing by your own experience that actually, if I cannot do something now, I can develop myself to do something then later. And that's the importance of it. And in my case, after my career, because I don't like to be talking about myself, so I end up when I have the control of the room, or when I have the control of the class, I use that platform to be able to pass always messages. I've always done that. When I get invited to a podcast, I go and do that.
Yes. Yes.
And as soon as I started getting more confident that whatever I was doing was impacting, and that's why the podcast happened.
Yes.
And then I feel like things just happens, and the podcast wasn't even live, and things was just connecting. And I start like, okay, I think I am in a position that I can impact the world.
It's honestly threw everything out into the universe.
Exactly. It's like the world has power, the ripple effect and the butterfly effect. And then it was, when I spoke about that, wasn't that pursue, okay, I'm putting the points together, that's my story, that's what I'm doing today, that's my position in the jiu-jitsu world.
Yeah,
and now I want to get the right people around me so I can prepare the field, so I can pass the message further to a bigger audience, right? And since that day, when I spoke about the tree concept, and we started to work with many.
Yes.
Many went started making a project that we were working on.
Yep.
Suddenly, the people that I met a few days later I felt the confidence, and I started sharing, because the tree concept I talked for the first time on your podcast.
Yes.
And then I felt the impact that it caused on you and many. That's all because I'm not seeing the people outside.
Yes.
And then this is kind of clear to me, and I like to share. And I know that sharing was a big thing for me to improve in jiu-jitsu. Another experience from the sport.
Absolutely.
And then I start I started having the content in my head to share with assertiveness. Then I spoke to Scott Britz. And the next 3 days he went to train jiu-jitsu because I was speaking to him about it already, a few mindset things, and he liked it. And then I'm always using jiu-jitsu through the knuckle and battle cancer. And then he got interested to come and train. I trained with him, and I share a little bit life using jiu-jitsu as a metaphor, and he got it. And he goes back in, and he starts rippling effect. And then suddenly I meet, which became a very good friend of mine, Ben Lucas, which is an amazing entrepreneur worldwide. And Scott talked about that experience. Ben goes, I need to catch up with this guy. He contacted me, and then amazing things was developed from that. Major project that's coming, very short. And on the way back, I get a message from Dyyan. And Dyyan texts me, Braulio, listen, I'd like to talk to you. Because, I'm doing these mentoring things, and I think you'd like it. And by this, I want him to tell the story on his side. And I hear Dyyan was the guy that had connected 8-10 years ago, and he was the one that got me helped me to get the blue tick because I'm not good in social media, through Romulo Bahal, who lived here with me before he moved to California, and now Romulo is who he is. We actually shared 2 finals. We closed out 2 finals of the World Championships since when he moved out. So it's all connected in a way. So that podcast that I start getting more confident to speak out, to pass it on the message, to deliver the message. Made me contact with Scott Britz, that connected Ben, that's on the way back. He contacted me, and I go, oh my God, that's exactly what I when he mentioned about the mentoring, it is exactly what I needed on my base to be able to go further up on my purpose and my mission. You know what I mean? Because through the jiu-jitsu from Carlos Gracie Sr., Carlos Gracie Jr. is my master, who has a vision to change the world through jiu-jitsu. And I'm the head professor of the Gracie Barra Online Global. And I feel in the responsibility to prepare myself because I believe so much in the message, and I feel so much what I've been through that it can be passed on to so many out there. And I'm in the mode of connecting to preparing the base to build a very big platform to pass it on the message. And this is, for me, is bigger than being a world champion.
Yeah, for sure. Because that's one chapter of your life, the athlete of you.
Exactly.
But that's only it's like footballers.
It's
only a small portion of your life. Yeah. This is the bigger portion of your life. It's to spread that energy, to spread the word, spread the message, like you're saying.
And it's all down to you, because if the athletes who gets to a success story, they're always going to have those 3 options: to do nothing about it, to do something right, something wrong with it. Yeah. If you have the intentions of doing something right, even when you do something wrong, you learn because you had the intention to do right.
Absolutely.
And if you do nothing, you'll be fine. Yeah. But then comes that video that I showed you before.
Yes.
Life is very good when you help people. It's very good, when you are in a good mode and when you help people, but it's much better when people are happy for things that you did that allowed them to be happy. Sure. And that's the extra level that I'm trying to evolve. Because when people say, have you retired? No, I evolve.
That's a good shout. So yeah, I like that. Dyyan, that stage where you rang him, what, how, why? How, why, and when?
No, it's that is a reason. I was the last 10 years. I spent so much time understanding, the mind of the athletes, of the champions, the top athletes, and I developed my own methodology, to manage their image, their profiles, their behavior on social media, outside social media. In order to make them, more popular, reach more people worldwide, got more visibility, but to always, pass a good message. That was the basics for my work. I never worked with any athlete that I don't care about people, I don't do this, I don't like that, that I know I don't. I never worked with them because I don't trust that. Athletes, they inspire children, worldwide. So you need a good behavior, especially on social media. This is the basics, because you're saying things that can change people's path.
It's a big responsibility.
Exactly. He said something very interesting. I'm not retired.
Retired.
Not retired. I'm involved. And I remember one thing, which is one of the athletes that inspired me during my career was Kobe Bryant. Yeah. And when he finished his career on NBA, he said that that was just the beginning.
Yes, I remember. Yeah.
And 2 years later, he achieved an Oscar.
What are the chances?
Yeah.
2 years later.
Jeez. Yeah. You're right.
2 years later.
Wow.
So, wow.
Wow. Yeah.
It means that you are capable to do things that you never imagined. Who in the world is going to imagine that an NBA athlete, a basketball professional, is going to achieve an Oscar as a film director?
Wow.
Crazy, eh?
You know what? I didn't even think of that. That's amazing. That is incredible.
That's incredible. So that's the perception that I have about the sports, and that's the reason I contact him. Because I met him once. I have friends in common with Braulio.
Okay.
I have people that always said good things about him. I was used to watch Braulio's fight when I was younger.
Yeah.
I see Braulio fighting on ADCC against Jacaré. I was, fuck, what the hell was that?
Man.
Yeah.
Good
I
time.
Yeah, absolutely.
was impressed at that time.
Yeah.
I saw one guy once, try to stress out Braulio, and I was, my God, Braulio was acting like a gentleman, and I was thinking, oh my God, Braulio could kill this guy. He's short, oh my God, Braulio could kill him. He's acting like, oh, come on, guy. No.
Yeah.
And I was, oh my God, this is the kind of people that
You wanna be
I
associated.
love it. I see and I said, that's it. That's what it is about.
For sure.
And then when I start to finish the methodology, when I create this methodology, the first person that came to my mind was Braulio.
Right.
Because I do jiu-jitsu, I follow a lot of jiu-jitsu fighters, I know the community. I worked with Rodolfo Vieira once. Bruno Malfacini is a very good friend. And I was, why Braulio has so many followers in compare with those guys?
Right.
He has such a nice career. He's unbelievable, And I start to look on his channels and see some stuff and understand some things. And I said, no, let's change that.
Okay.
I sent him a message on WhatsApp. I sent an audio message, say, "Hey man, I do this thing, this mentoring structure here. I have this methodology that I developed with all the athletes that I have worked in the past.
Yeah.
And I would love to speak with you about that, because I believe this is going to help you in your career and the things that you're doing. I'm following you all the time. I see you are trying to pass to people, and I'm pretty sure that if you have a half an hour of chatting, you will understand what I'm trying to do, and you will be certain that it's going to help you."
Sure.
And that how
And that was music
To
for my
you.
ears.
Yeah, because I remember at the time you needed something as well.
I need something to adjust on how to. I had a kickstart,
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
and I have been since the ADCC Hall of Fame. I kind of I spend time processing, because it was kind of as I told you, I don't think I don't keep thinking about how I got here. But in the ADCC, it was like a kind of the penny kind of drop. I got, hold on a second, holy moly, man! Like, I belong here. Ricardo Arona, Marcelo Garcia, Roger Gracie, Renzo Gracie, Marius Perry, but Kira Gracie, you name it, Saulo Ribeiro. It's like, I remember me going to the gym and joking about, imagine if the guy does that and Saulo Ribeiro grabs him, it would be that. It's like, and then suddenly I look to my right and I go, wow, Mark Kerr, like, what the hell is going on here? And I go and I look around and people watch my videos, the crowd go wild. I go, damn, I do belong here. Actually, I do. And then, yeah, look at the videos, look what I've done. I said, my God, And then I spend time processing, how the hell did I get here? Right? Because I'm not a superhuman. I had a lot of hurdles. I had a lot of difficulties in life. I had I wasn't never the strongest person in my category. I wasn't the most experienced guy in the academy. I didn't came from Rio de Janeiro, Manaus, or São Paulo. I trained with black belts only when I was a brown belt. How the hell? And then I start kind of processing. And one thing that I've already been clicked for a while is that every success story has a very common denominator. And then I start looking around, okay, cool. And then I start processing, okay, Hall of Fame. And before that, and before that, and before that, and before that, and then before I stepped into the jiu-jitsu for the first time, what happened, And then when I did step into the jiu-jitsu, what happened? What did I do? And that I wanted to look for the first step. And the first step was, first I had to be honest with myself. I've always been that from birth, my parenting, and be content with what you've got from parenting, and accept the scenario and never cry over the spilled milk. Okay, and that I had that kind of values. Keep your word, be grateful, retribute. And that was in my values. And then as soon as I stepped into the academy, okay, this is nice. And then I start, okay, now when I start to say I want to pursue this for a next level, I had that, I understand of, okay, I'm not training in Rio de Janeiro. There's no blue belts to train here, purple belts. But I have something. I have my friends and I have people with gi on, and let's train. And then that's acceptance of what I had, and be content with that, and strive to be better than yesterday with the information that we had, was very important.
That's development, that 1%.
Yes,
1% progress.
And then I start accepting my position.
Yeah.
And now I wanted to do the first step, and then that's what I start kind of doing what I feel is my purpose, and which is the same way that the Carlos Gracie Jr. was using Gracie Barra to make the world a better place to live.
Absolutely.
Doing his part.
Yes.
It's his project of life. And I relate to that 100% because I know how much it changed mine. It's not changing mine just because I became the champion. Not that. It's changed mine way before that. It changed my journey when I didn't get my blue belt. And that message made me a better version of myself outside the mats already.
On and off the mats.
On and off the
and
mats.
Do you think, like, obviously, what you've developed in this, just as a small pinnacle thing, like what you've developed, how you developed jiu-jitsu in this country, is that like your biggest life lesson there with not getting your blue belt? Is that why you find the importance of the message that Carlos Gracie Jr. spreads with the values, the core values of what we have here in jiu-jitsu, why it's so important to live by them? Is that why do you think you're a fine example of that? Mm-hmm. That was probably a light bulb moment in your head that went, right? Yeah. Of why it's so important to live by the values.
It's one thing that I got a lot from the Carlos Gracie Jr.'s lessons for life. It's the self-belief, that is, if you believe, no, I don't think I can, no, you can. Why? You know, what's stopping you, you know? And look, you do well here, why can't you? And then the belief that, okay, it doesn't matter, I'll find a way, you know, and make it happen, you know, and if you never give up, like the black belt is a white belt, never gives up. You know, this kind of self-belief was inbuilt a lot from my experience with my training partners from Rio de Janeiro. You know, to the point that when I used to come back to Recife, brother, why you don't? There's no point, man. When you get your black belt, it's gonna be too late. The people's already a world champion now. Look, imagine Margarida, look, Paddy Pano. I said, well, what are you doing? You know what I mean? But I said, well, I love the journey anyway. It's making me a better version. I'm enjoying that. And then every little time that people tell me like you cannot do, I go, well, why? You know? And in the end, I start with little lessons here and there of achievements that a lot of people wouldn't believe or thought that could be possible, including like I wasn't expecting. I just tried to do my best, and I go, whoa, hold on a second. So in the end of the day, you know, especially the lesson of the Jacare thing after the neck injury, you know what I mean? Like, it's not about what people tell you. It doesn't matter if people say, Braulio, you can't do it, or Braulio, you cannot do it, or I don't know. It's what I tell to myself that matters, you know, because the voice that is going to make the whole difference is yourself telling you. It doesn't matter what people are saying. It's what you believe and what you tell you. You can, you will. I can't, you can't. Mm-hmm. You know, and then that mindset was developed through my career in the pursuit of being a champion. But even if I wasn't the champion, and if I wouldn't stop until I could give it a try, until the point that is over. Yep. And then that result was what? Yep. Being a champion or not, it didn't matter, because it became my biggest potential that I could on my professional career. And that's one of the things that all my teammates that started with me and many generations behind stopped, because they just went through the day-to-day life with the commitment. I have to study to do that. I need to do that because my dad put me here. I need to do that so I can build a family. Whereas I was always very worried to become 40 years old and be wondering, what if I had carried on? And I wouldn't be able to, because I understand myself and I'm honest with myself. And I accept this scenario myself. Yeah. I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I didn't give it a try. And all I could do is give it a try. It's enjoyable. It's fun. I have something back. It didn't feel like I was wasting time. Mm-hmm. And I was kind of, okay, I can, little battles, winning little battles. And it's possible. And now, when I see from the bigger picture, everything connects. And now I'm in a position that I can do that for the purpose that I believe that I'm here for. And I'm doing the first steps, and the right people connecting at the right moment, the universe conspiring. And I feel like we are on up for a good run.
And it's good that you mentioned that when you were 14, you were wondering if you could do better. Yeah. This is the difference for today, because he was looking to improve himself, to be the best, to do better every single day.
Absolutely.
We born in a generation where we used to watch Ayrton Senna become champion every year to be the best driver in the world in the history.
Big impact on my mindset.
In all the guys, everybody with 11, 12, everybody was watching every Sunday Ayrton Senna be the best. And
remember that competition in Interlagos when he's
just one engine,
only one engine.
Yeah.
It was raining, and because it was raining and sun, raining and sun, and he was running. He was driving.
Yeah.
With the dry wheels, tires on the rain.
Yeah.
And then.
And only one engine.
Only one engine
with 8 laps to the end, and Damon Hill with the fastest car
from the Williams
in the race.
Yeah.
And then, if look at that, a lot of people, it's impossible. But if he thought that would, oh man, it's over. Oh, this is not gonna work. You know what? I'll stop. Flip my neck.
Yeah.
All my mind was always saying, yeah, but look what Senna did. Look, Ronaldo.
No, but there's the end about this.
Yeah.
Because do you know how it finished?
I don't. No.
He won the race and he won the championship.
Yes.
It was the very first time that Ayrton Senna won a race. No, in Brazil.
Yeah, in Brazil.
The very first time, and he won the championship.
Yeah.
But when he finished the race, he was so tired, so exhausted that he couldn't even
go to the podium.
Yeah, no. He could left the car.
Yeah, they have to go take it in from the car.
Yeah, the crowd went to his car and took him and carried him.
Wow.
And that
Just because it's a lot on my hands. It's not like a hydraulic. Like
he couldn't even take the trophy.
He couldn't lift the trophy.
Exactly, because he was so exhausted. But he did his best. And that is something. And he did his best, and he passed the message for everyone that you could do your best.
Never give
and
up.
after Ayrton Senna, we start to see Guga become the best tennis player in the world.
In the world, which is for Brazilians.
Yeah.
Like, this is impossible with people like
He won 3 times Roland Garros.
Andre Agassi and all those
And
guys.
everybody was that, oh my God, if this guy can do, we can do.
Yeah.
And
Ronaldo.
And no, there's more. And after Guga, we start to see Royce Gracie become the legend of the
UFC. Yes,
and everybody, at that time, we should rent a VHS to watch the UFC.
Yeah.
And everybody was, oh my God, this guy is
Brazilian,
is winning 5 times in a row and about those giants.
And looking like just a guy from
and he's
normal
doing
person.
just jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And everybody in Brazil was, oh my God, and in Brazil in the world, who's this guy? And the message behind all those athletes, those champions, was that you can do your best, and then we have Ronaldinho Gaúcho, Kaká. We have Vanderlei Silva doing his amazing performance on Pride. You have Shogun, Nogueira. You have a lot of stories like that of the guys that are every single week they are saying on media, on newspapers or magazines that are, hey, you have to train, you have to do your best, you have to achieve your maximum potential, and you have to fight for your life, you have to fight for your family, you have to do the things that you can do, and never imagine that you can't, as you said.
Yeah.
And that was the message. Our generation grow up like that. And today, the message, especially the boys are having in social media, especially, is that they need to be soft. If they don't win, it's okay.
Yeah, this is the point I was trying to say. Like, because
And that's the reason we have to,
push the message.
Exactly.
Push the message. But how are you supposed to do that? Because I use that boy as an example that I had last night. He's got a gold mindset on. Your children have got gold mindset. Does that make sense? They've got this, but they can't see it. But how are we supposed to motivate them and make them see it if they're too glued on screens? Does that make sense? Like,
take them off.
Yeah,
but no, this is not the only answer.
But we have to start to show on the screen,
so they can see that.
They can see that. They can learn. They can listen what the guys that achieve that has to say.
For sure.
Because everybody is smart enough to understand that someone that never got anything or achieved anything in life is saying something, and that is one world champion, a Hall of Fame saying the opposite. Oh my God. You know who has the right message.
Yeah, for sure.
I was impacted in the other day, I think last week in social media, on Instagram, for this guy. He should be like 19 years old. Okay. And he was in Dubai, and he was like this. I am 19. I have my best shoes. I only use branded clothes. And he took some cash, and he started to show his cash. And that's everything that I did in 2 years, and I have millions in my account, and I have the best cars. And he was saying, and you can have that. You just need to download my app to analyze the stocks. I said, this is a true lie.
Trap, scam.
Scam.
And this is a sponsored, content. So basically, he's buying media to promote that for a lot of people around the world.
But you know what the sad thing is? People believe it.
Exactly. Imagine a 16-year-old kid being impacted
by
that.
They're going to win.
And that's the thing with the sport. Like, for example, in Jiu-Jitsu, you start to appreciate that everything that comes fast in life, right? In Jiu-Jitsu, you cannot get real good like that, because you need to go through a lot of stages so you can have the understanding of yourself on how to deal. And by trying and error, by failing, you improving if you intend to do the right. And that knowledge of overcoming those difficulties and hurdles, it's the biggest lessons that we have for life. When you make mistakes. And if you just get shortcuts, man, how many times I used to remember on the Mega Drive or Master System, we're going playing video game, Nintendo, the little one, and then there is always those cheats. That you can never die here, so you can go into the end. And then how can you develop? How can you try not to make the mistake if you can have unlimited options to just go through to the destination, instead of learning on how to be prepared for the worst case scenarios? So because that makes you frustrated, and but make you be more willing to don't make mistakes on the dot moment. And this in life, when you get those three people try to get things too easy, because it's so out there, like I want to get easy, because they focus on the destination. If the destination is money, I want to get the money easy. I want to get the car easy because but then what's gonna, if you be attracted to those things, you're not attracted to be hard work, to hardship, which is gonna get you the resilience to when thing goes down, you'll be able to go through that. When if you don't have the self-belief, because look, one thing that I like to compare a lot that you're going to associate, and it's exactly the reason why I'm very proud and honored to be working with you, because look where did you start and what did you do that got you to understand what you know now. You know what I mean? If people go, let's go website, right? A person who self-developed a very nice website, he put out there, a lot of people are going to go, flipping heck, I'm going to do this. How would I do it? Okay, so let's copy. And then we copy their website, and it's going to be kind of similar, right? And then you get something. But then, if you want to be and they start selling the service, if you want to be a web design developer, you cannot just copy for the sake of copy. You have to get this as a reference and inspiration so you can start developing yourself on your own way instead of trying to copy back, because then that guy reached that result because there was a process of development that led to that while you whatever you see on that nice website, he's still developing things to get better, and the next upgrade you'll be better. And he has a vision, because that vision that he understands himself, he got to here, it's not going to stop here. He will go further. And this guy going to go, oh, this is so old. How do I get out? Okay, no, let's copy again. And you're already late. When you don't develop the skills that you can take your own conclusions in your own personality, you can go to your full potential. And if your full potential will be better in the world or not, you will have that as a reference.
But now imagine that a 16 years old girl, see this, influencer on Instagram with 2 million followers doing makeup and being famous just because she's giving tips. Mm-hmm. And you start to try to, imitate, copy.
Just for the sake of it, it doesn't want to be the same.
And you don't reach the same audience and the same, visibility. And you have the world saying, oh my God, if you don't do that, it's okay, it's fine. How do you feel?
Lost.
Exactly.
Literally.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you see that the influencers, they are traveling worldwide. They are, using fancy clothes, perfumes, the
always
best cars.
happy.
And then they think that's the real life.
And imagine what the message is passed.
Exactly.
I'm a teenager. I am in my room, and that's raining outside. It's cold. I have I don't feel good about myself because the looks that's how I'm supposed to look.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to look into your qualities and try to develop your qualities from your inner self.
Yeah.
And then if you don't have an environment that can kickstart your first step of accepting, be honest with yourself, and do something with the intention of doing right, by finding your passion, then you're going to get lost if you don't have that.
Absolutely.
Because you will be feeling completely unjustified by, I cannot have that. Why they have that? I don't look like that. And that is completely bring a message to the other side, because whatever they do in the social, on that moment when they are all happy and stuff and all this and good look, this is very superficial.
Yes, yes,
and that's the issue that I see.
And that brings another subject, which is discipline. Because when you have discipline to do the things that you have to do, you start to achieve your goals step by step.
For sure.
The same way you said.
Yeah.
And that's the reason I believe martial arts, especially jiu-jitsu, can help to change the world now.
For a better place, for sure.
Exactly, because it brings discipline for everyone.
Absolutely.
That's the very first thing that people, when start jiu-jitsu, they understand that they need to continue training. Because if you don't have discipline to, wake up early, do your exercises, have a proper, nutrition, and lost your fears and go to the academy to face whatever you have to face, and do your studies and go sleep well and avoid to take your time on social media, because if you do that, you cannot will find time to do the other things.
Yeah.
You start to change your habits, you start to change your routine, and you start to see that that is life, outside the digital world.
Absolutely.
And that will make you happier, because you start getting the results.
Yeah.
That's when you have the results and you start, okay, actually, I can.
Exactly. And now imagine if Braulio, Malfacini, Lange, Galvão, Xande, and everyone start to spread messages like that. How the world is going to be.
The positive impact it's going to have on the youth of today. Yeah, for sure.
But it's not only about them. It's about people around the world, you know, like LeBron James, you know, like people that are really famous, you
that
know,
has the
they
the
achieve
beacon.
millions
They
people.
get to that stage that they can reach.
Yeah.
Why Messi's image after the end of the World Cup kissing the trophy
Yeah.
was the most likable photo in the stories of social media, because he was passing the message that I got it, I did it.
He manifested on it as well, because look at the tattoo that he did on his, was it on his leg? That's talking about visionary, throwing it out to the universe. That's a prime example right there.
You
He
know,
had a tattoo. He was seeing it every day. He was attracting it, and then boom.
so people got emotions when you see that someone can achieve, you know,
Absolutely.
what looks like it's impossible, you know. Messi lost 3 World Cups, and it was his last one. So he did it in one of the most
Best
impressive matches.
One of the best
time.
finals of
It's the best football game that I've ever watched in my life.
the most
Can you imagine the feeling of Messi to, you know, to think, I did it. I did it. I can stop now. I don't need football anymore. But he's playing. He's doing his
Still
best.
doing it, yeah.
Because that's what brought him there.
Exactly.
And a lot of people tend to see the pinnacle, right? The tip of the iceberg. And but there was so many things that came underneath. You know, like for example the Hall of Fame thing. That was just there. But what comes behind?
Exactly.
And that is where the journey.
And you got to enjoy the journey.
Otherwise, if you don't have the passion for what you do, you're gonna be prepared to be having an average, or if not, sad life. You know, and that's why was one of the main reasons. The reason why I didn't go to the academic world is because I felt that I was doing just for the money, especially the production engineering.
But that's the thing. When we start to have our conversations and everything, one of the most important things was the fact that I told him, hey man, you need to show people who you are.
Yeah.
Because that's the very important thing. Because he goes to the game of his son, you know, he watch his son, he's together with both of the kids, you know, he has a house, you know, to take care, you know, he has his girlfriend, his fiance, that he needs to, you know, give attention, you know, to care about the relationship. He has the academies, the Gracie Barra, you know, responsibilities, you know, the professor responsibilities, you know, as an entrepreneur, he need to, you know, take care of the administration, the financials, the marketing, the communications, you know, he needs to go and travel to do seminars, to do camps, to do jiu-jitsu clinics. He needs to do private classes, no-gi classes, jiu-jitsu classes. It's a lot of things that he needs to do.
on one head.
But people don't see that.
No.
They don't see the time that he wake up and the time that he's going to sleep. You know, they just see what he's showing.
Yeah.
You know, because there is no cameras following behind, you know, every single day.
No.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that it's important to inspire people, to show that we are the same.
We've all gone through that.
We do the same thing.
Absolutely.
You know, if I can, you can.
And that's what I like about the ordinary and the extraordinary. The extra.
The extra.
You got to do a little bit extra.
Not a little
be
bit.
ordinary.
It's true, man. It's true.
Do you know what is the worst sentence in life? I'm tired. This is the worst sentence. That's the sentence that
it's a
makes
negative
You
approach.
quit.
you fall.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
You
a
know,
negative.
I'm tired. I'm gonna have some rest. You never put yourself in a position to challenge your body, you know, to challenge your mind, you know. And if you lose to your own mind, if you say, I'm gonna wake up early and I'm going to the gym, and you wake up and I say, no, it's so cold. I don't want to go. I'm staying here for 5 more minutes.
Yeah.
And maybe half an hour. I'm going tomorrow. The weather is going to be better tomorrow. You lose your battle.
Straight away.
You're losing for yourself.
You lost your game.
You know,
You lost your purpose.
now imagine if you have to face someone that has a different mindset than you,
Yeah.
that is really looking for to become champion, and you need to fight this person.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then this is a very good point for my main tournaments was
That mindset.
I couldn't accept, or I couldn't give the opportunity. Sorry, I couldn't give the opportunity that my opponent was going to train more than me. You know,
Yeah.
so he could have trained hard, the hardest that anybody could,
But
but
not.
not harder than me.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't want to get to the day of the tournament and look
have-
back. I
what
could
if?
have done a little bit more.
What if?
No chance.
Yeah.
No chance.
Yeah.
No chance.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? But but why are you doing this? Why are you doing this, man? You don't need to do this anymore. You already won this. I said, what if?
There you go. It's
Why?
true. It's true. It's true.
Let's try.
Absolutely, guys.
Yeah.
What I can do is one is on my control.
Yes.
Got there. Let's go. And whatever the result was, I am proud for what I've done
Everything
in the
you've
process.
achieved and everything you've achieved from it, and the message you've sent across to the world. Does that make sense? And it's a massive influence. You've had a huge influence on my life and my mindset with it all. And Dyyan, getting to know you these last few days as well has just been mind blowing. The two of you combined together is just like bam.
Fireworks.
This has been bam. So I just want to say a massive thank you guys for taking the time out to come here in Coventry, sunny Coventry. Yeah.
Sunny-ish.
Sunny-ish Coventry, and spread the word and to share your journey with us. So thank you so much, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very
man.
much. Thank you, Pindi.
Thank you.
Pleasure,
Thanks,
bro.
Pidi.
Got you.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
So, Dyyan.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
I appreciate the time here.
It's been great.
It's proud to share, the space with Braulio, because
I'm proud.
After-
I'm honored.
after everything that we are passing the last months, we are here, and we see that we are starting to move forward in the final objective.
Yeah, we've got a few huge projects coming up, so I'm very excited to share the journey with Jizo.
Guys,
Amazing.
just listen to this. Everything happens for a reason. It's not by accident. When you put your mind and heart on the mission to make a good, positive difference in the world,
Yeah, man.
with the idea of sharing with people, with like-minded people, a lot of things good happens to everyone around, and this is beyond happiness.
Surround yourself with the right people with the right mindset, for sure.
With the intention to make a change, positive change.
A positive impact. Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, brother.
You are awesome.